Most founders raise money way too early, and it doesn't just slow them down, it kills their company. Here's the brutal truth that no one told me until I had lost $150,000 and gave back $500,000 to my investors. There are only 4 valid reasons to raise money. And if you're not doing it for one of these, you're raising money to crash, and it will take your company down with you. In this video, I'll break down the 4 reasons. I'll share the real costs that no one talks about and walk you through the mistakes I made so that you don't have to. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, I'm Cort Brady. I'm a 4-time founder and now an advisor and coach to business owners transitioning from startup to scale up. I built a service company from scratch. I scaled it with 0 outside funding and then raised money to start a software company that I ended up shutting down just 3 months into it. Let me take you back. My first company was a door-to-door sales and marketing agency. I provided a sales force for an at-home pest control company, then recruited and led over 75 sales reps across multiple states in the US, doing millions in revenue. Because we were a one-trick pony, we did sales only. We just traded new accounts for cash, and we set up a structure where we would get paid upfront for a full 1-year contract. I was able to scale that company with 0 outside money. It wasn't glamorous, but it taught me to sell, and it gave me a heap of cash to be able to go and start my next business. After those 5 years, it was time for me to transition from selling and recruiting to starting my own company where we had to do every aspect of the business. So I used that cash, about $200,000 of my own from savings, to fund my next business. And then I didn't take a salary for 3 years. We lived lean. It was the definition of bootstrap. Brick by brick, we built a real company, one that didn't rely on me for all the daily decisions. And by year 6, I had scaled from 0 to 80 employees and transitioned from founding CEO to chairman of the board. For anyone wondering what that business is, it's called Aspen, and we provide services and softwares to banks like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, to help them with their appraisal and underwriting process. Totally unrelated from door-to-door sales, and an adventure and a story for another time. So after I had transitioned out, I got the itch. You know the one. I was only 31 years old. I had bootstrapped an 8-figure company that I owned 100% of. After a couple of months, I couldn't get the thought of another startup out of my mind. What if I could build something even bigger? So of course, I started another software company. I raised $500,000 from investors I respected, and we hired and started building fast. 3 months in, I knew we'd missed it. We were scaling a shaky foundation, the product wasn't ready, and the market still wasn't clear. I realized at this point that I really only had 2 choices. 1, keep burning money and hope that we'd eventually figure it out, or 2, shut it down and return the funds. For a handful of reasons, I chose option number 2 and shut it down. I gave every dollar back to the investors and took a $150,000 personal hit. We were burning $50,000 a month. I remember lying on the floor in the shower that night thinking, how do I suck so bad? Every success up to that point was swallowed up in the failure that I just experienced. But that moment taught me everything I needed to know about when and when not to raise capital. And that's what I want to share with you. So here's what I realized. We make decisions as founders based on emotions, and then we try and use logic to justify those decisions. Let me explain. The majority of us don't raise because we have clarity on what we're going to do with the cash. We raise for the validation, so that even when we're unclear, at least I have some other people thinking I'm not crazy. The idea goes in our minds, if smart investors say yes and give me money, then I must be legit. This must be a good idea. If I close this round, that means my idea is real and valuable. That's the biggest lie in startups. Smart investors make bad bets all the time. Raising capital doesn't mean your company is great. It just means that you're great at pitching. And the problem, when you build for your investors, you stop building for the customer. Your real job is to build something that solves a massive pain for your customers, and then to deliver it profitably and scale it sustainably. Validation doesn't get you there. Clarity does. And when you raise without it, it's like pouring gas on a fire you don't know how to control. So just before I jump you through my 4 reasons to raise, I have to talk through this point. You have to know what's on the other side of that big toothy smile and the $1 million check that the investor wants to give you. When you raise money, you just adopted a new job. You now have to sell the dream back to the investors every month. Every board meeting, every update, you're justifying why you exist and why they should give you more money. You also take on another boss. Every investor, whether this is your mother-in-law or an institutional investor, still expects return. There's still some pressure. There's still some timeline that they need to get their money back. And the moment your incentives diverge, you're in trouble. I've seen this destroy founders. They keep bloated teams to look big. They chase growth over profit. They build for the next raise instead of real profitable revenue. The optics become more important than the outcome, so that they can say headcount is up, our burn rate is normal, and our annual recurring revenue is climbing. But under the hood, it's chaos. No systems, no product market fit, no real traction, no sustainability, so that when the founder leaves, the business continues to thrive without him. That's what happens when you raise money to feel successful instead of trying to make your company successful. So ask yourself, are you optimizing your business for investors or for your customers? If you're feeling the pressure to raise before you're ready, leave a comment. I'd love to talk through it with you. All right, so here's a framework, and if it doesn't fit into one of these 4 categories, do not raise. Number 1, you're raising to buy runway while you find market fit. You've got a scrappy team, you are testing fast, you're iterating, you have that build, measure, learn feedback loop. There's early traction, but you're just not there yet. You just need time, you need oxygen, not millions of dollars, not a 10-person team, just enough to survive and keep that core team of you and maybe 1 or 2 others building. This is the earliest stage, most fragile stage, and it's where small checks and gritty teams win. You should be looking for a couple $100,000 at the most. You should be living in the smallest apartment you can find, eating the cheapest food available. This is the cash to get you from where you are to profitability, nothing more. For me, I was able to take my money from door-to-door sales to found my startup. That was absolutely the right approach. It allowed me to get clarity as I was growing. So much changes from your first dollar to your 10 millionth dollar. And the chances that you'll be aligned with the original investor after all that time are extremely low. So figure out how to get the cash you need by cutting your cost of living expenses, not by raising capital, if at all possible. All right, number 2 is to pour gas on a proven cash-making machine. You found fit, you know your ICP, your CAC, your LTV, you're profitable or on a straight path to it. And as an aside, ICP is your ideal customer profile, who it is that you want to sell to. CAC stands for customer acquisition costs. It's how much you can pay in ads and sales and marketing to get a customer. And LTV is lifetime value. This is how much someone's gonna pay you from first dollar all the way through the last thing that they buy from you before they never buy from you again. And LTV is lifetime value of a customer, how much you'll make off a new customer from their first purchase to the last. At this point in your business, it's about scale. You're not gambling, you're compounding. Capital accelerates what you already have working. This is the healthiest reason to raise capital, but after you've proven the model. I hear all the time, people want to raise because they need the cash to build the product. But the healthier and safer option is to pre-sell your product and use the proceeds from the pre-sale to create the product itself and then deliver it to the client. Sounds crazy, but selling a product you don't have is just as easy as selling a product that you do have. And if you can't sell it when you don't have it, then when it's built, you still won't be able to. All right, number 3, this is a great reason to raise. It's an Oklahoma land grab. It's a gold rush situation. Some markets are winner take all or take most. If you don't scale fast in your market, someone else is going to. So think Uber, Airbnb, Facebook. They didn't just grow, they had to grow or else they'd lose. If your market has this dynamic, then raising is a weapon. But if it doesn't, don't force this playbook. Before you raise, get brutally honest with yourself here. In the book Blitz Scaling, it talks about how there are only 50 businesses per year in the US that actually fit this business model. So don't lie to yourself and think that you are one when you're not. But if you truly are, go all in. Number 4, you want to take some chips off the table. You've built real value, you're generating cash, but you've taken all of the risk and all of your eggs are in this single basket, and there's no financial reward yet. It's all just monopoly money. In this case, getting some liquidity can make sense. Not to buy a yacht unless that's what fuels you, but to protect your life, your family, and your peace of mind. This one's personal, but only valid when you've actually built something stable. So let's bring this home. Capital doesn't fix your startups. It just magnifies what already exists. If your model works, capital helps you scale. If you can put $1 in and get 3 back, raise. If your model's broken, capital helps to burn it down faster. So be honest, are you raising for survival or validation? For scale or status? For real strategy or storytelling? Build slow, build right, raise when the fire's already burning, not when you're hoping to get a spark. If it doesn't hit one of these 4, don't do it. If this video saved you time, money, stress, hit that like button, subscribe for more founder frameworks. I share them every single day. And if you know someone who is about to raise for potentially the wrong reason, send this their way. I'll see you in the next one.